Hey crypto traders, checking in on a pretty exciting day for the bulls, but starting it off, we want to look at the dollar always with our initial analysis of the cryptocurrency space. Do we have to see a weak dollar for crypto to go up? No, absolutely not, but I am a more confident crypto bull if the dollar is weak and if metals are strong. So the dollar right now is a potential daily inverse head and shoulders, but we would have to hold 92.52 and break $94 to confirm it and confirm a daily trend change. We're about 37 cents from a bear break, and we would need over $1 for a bull break. So the bears still have their momentum intact, just daily lower highs on these bounces at this point in time, which again, it's keeping the metal bulls confident and it's keeping the crypto bulls confident. We'll continue to watch this, and it's a nice little guide. So before we get into it, going to look at a post I made this morning, not for the purpose of touting my ego, but for the purpose of recognizing setups and then looking at how they played out. So posted this in our chat room and also in Nuggets News crypto community where I post when I'm confident. But checking in on the Bitcoin daily chart, it's very similar to ETH 5 days ago. The two most likely paths are we either see a bull break to the mid or upper 12,000s, or we reject from 12,000 and pull back to look for a daily higher low and continued tightening daily range. To make it more interesting, we're watching the Bitcoin dominance falling wedge on its daily chart, and it's generally a bullish pattern. How it breaks when we get the Bitcoin break is going to give us lots of information, and this is what we're going to be looking at as our guide. If a Bitcoin bull break and a Bitcoin dominance bull break, that means Bitcoin takes all the focus, and that's what's happening to a certain degree today. And here is the dominance chart that I'm talking about, the falling wedge this morning. It was right on our downtrend line of support, and here we are now bouncing right off that line. That being said, we are still in this falling wedge pattern. This pattern has not broken, nor does it need to break on this move. It's entirely possible that we see this bull move result in just a lower high, and we continue in this tightening range for another week plus. It is important to be watching this if you are an altcoin trader, because if this pattern does eventually break bullish, it means take a step back and chill out on the altcoins for a bit, because it's time for Bitcoin to shine. So let's just look at that breakdown real quick for the different scenarios. Bitcoin daily bull break and a Bitcoin dominance bull break means Bitcoin is the leader and the altcoins are not going to go up as fast. If the Bitcoin US dollar pairing breaks bullish and the dominance chart breaks bearish, altcoins surge faster, stronger than Bitcoin does. Bitcoin bear break, which we obviously haven't seen, we saw a bull break. But if it had broken bearish and the dominance broke bullish, that means the alts are pulling back harder than Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin breaks bearish and the dominance breaks bearish, Bitcoin is dropping harder than the altcoins. You can save this, write this down, keep it next to your computer, because this is your general guide on the relationship of Bitcoin and the altcoins and what it means if we're seeing these four different scenarios taking place. So let's look at that ETH daily chart, because it was the same as Bitcoin. It was a higher low pattern, a tightening daily range, and we broke bullish 5 days ago. Bitcoin this morning was that same pattern, higher low pattern, tightening daily range, and now we're getting the bull break. ETH gave us the same pattern breaking bullish 5 days ago, and Bitcoin is now following it. So a nice little heads up saying, well, it looks a whole lot like Ethereum, so that tells me the most likely scenario is a bull break. Another thing to note is what happened on the initial attempt. And it was a hard rejection. And we have seen this many times in the crypto space. This does not happen like this in the stock space. You can reject and pull back, but you're not going to see a rejection and a pullback this hard and fast unless you're talking about a penny stock or an illiquid name. Apple doesn't do this. Apple doesn't test the all-time high and reject and then drop 4% on the next 5-minute candle. And that's due to liquidity in large part. But this pattern is very common in the last 2 months of the cryptocurrency space. And what you are seeing, in my opinion, and my observation, is algo bots that are, let's just think of it very simply, they have an if-then statement. If the price hits this level, market sell this many Bitcoin. And that's why, if over the past couple months you've noticed this pattern, it's a bull break, we get right to resistance, and then we instantly dump down hard and fast. And it's not humans that are doing that. Yes, humans and manual trades are a factor, but it is mostly bots and algos. The most notable part of this pattern, and the part to write down, is the initial low of that dump, then becomes our most important support level for the day. And as soon as that low was hit and we saw this green candle, I could then make a very clear statement. If we break 11,800 from here, we are going to reject with a double top today, and we are going to pull back down to the low, at least the low $11,000 range for a tightening daily pattern. If that 11,800 level holds for the rest of the morning, bulls keep their complete control. And I can say that because I've watched this pattern over a dozen times in the last 2 months where we flush down, bears make their dent, but there is no follow through. There is no 5-minute lower high and lower low. It's the bears taking their shot, having it happen all in one candle or maybe 2 5-minute candles at most, and then not breaking the low of the initial flush. If you break the low of the initial flush after a short-term bounce, it is a big red flag of bears gaining momentum. If that low is not broken, then the bulls keep full control. How can we use that information? If I'm already in a position, I know that I don't have anything to worry about as a bull if that level doesn't break. And I can also make a play off of it. Let's go back to the 2-minute time frame. After that dump took place, as soon as we see this much of a bounce, I could say, all right, that's enough for me. I'm making a bullish entry at 12,000, putting my stop under 11,800 and hoping for follow through. And that would have been $200 of risk. And we've already seen over $200 or over $400 of reward. So you can play off of the low of that initial flush. That initial flush low is a very nice tool to get comfortable with observing. So where do we stand now? Daily time frame continuation. I would call anything on the daily chart above, really it's anything above 11,120 as a daily high or low, keeping the uptrend intact. We're obviously at higher highs. And the next resistance level after 12,320 that we have broken, 13,202. And the most important level for me, aside from all-time highs, is 13,868. Why is that the most important pattern? I've said it a couple times, but just to go over it real quick, the 2-month time frame is an equilibrium right now. I would not be surprised in the slightest to reject from 13,800 and still tighten up within this multiple month long-term equilibrium. If we reject from 13,800, it is a lower high. We will then look for a higher low to form compared to 3,858, but that means we could stay within this tightening range into early to mid 2021. That would mean we have a lot more patience to go in the cryptocurrency space. If you break 13,868, that is not going to happen, obviously. I should say the lower high would not happen if we break that resistance level. And then we're just looking right back at the all-time high, and we are in an area with a very significant lack of previous price resistance. Once you clear 13,800, you're looking back into the 16,000, 17,000s very quickly. It is all about 13,800 for me. And honestly, with the way I'm watching all of our major assets correlate, gold, silver, stocks, oil, cryptocurrency, in my opinion, if the S&P 500 remains strong, if the dollar remains weak, we can easily see Bitcoin break 13,800. If the timing lines up that the dollar gets a significant weekly oversold bounce and we start weekly consolidation in the S&P 500, I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin see weekly consolidation take place as well. We would have to lose the weekly uptrend, which we currently have tons of space to form a weekly high or low, anything above 8,800s. We would have to lose the weekly uptrend for us to confidently say, okay, that's our 2-month lower high being set, equilibrium it is. So we're not going to be confident anytime soon that that's going to be the most likely scenario, but it is something in the back of my mind that keeps me from getting too overly bullish on this current cryptocurrency move. So Bitcoin dominance chart, we're going to continue watching this falling wedge. It's possible we stay within this falling wedge. The wedge resistance and support line are not the most important factor for me. They're a great visual guide, but I would still consider anything under 63.23 as just a daily lower high. Not only do I need a bull break from this falling wedge, but I need the eventual daily trend change to show follow through on that daily falling wedge. ETH USD, I'm still in a bullish position here, a shorter term bullish position. And again, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago plus at this point, I increased my net worth in my no-touch crypto position because of metal's strength. Certainly helped motivate me to do that. But for ETH, I added at the end of last week, went over in the last video, but it was the 4-hour high or low here where I added on a break of 380. At this point, I have exited a third of that position on the initial move up in the 420s, about 425. I will exit another third of that position if we see a bull move up into the 450s and 460s, and then I will leave a third of that position where I will exit once the daily uptrend is lost. Our new daily high or low on ETH is 412.51, so I'm moving my stop loss up as we go, and my stop is now under 412 to ensure that no matter what worst case scenario, I will profit on that trade. Bulls have a double top at 445. We broke it by a couple dollars, not convincing follow through, but we're still very strong. We're in a 15-minute uptrend at the moment. We're in an hourly uptrend. We're in a 4-hour uptrend. So we would have to start losing uptrends on the hourly and the 4-hour time frame for us to get a bit alarmed as bulls of this double top. We want to see the bulls over 450 for a convincing follow-through move to that higher high. But 412 is our new daily high or low. What's the next resistance for ETH in this zone? Well, we're looking back up, again, an area with a lack of resistance. We're looking up towards 500. If I had to pick a closer level, we can look up to 469 and then 500 psychological. But again, there is lots of space in this current range. So bulls want a little bit more follow through. The ETH BTC chart is not finding a daily high or low yet. Best case scenario, and look at this daily 12-period exponential support as a visual guide. Plenty of daily high or lows right off of it. I have used this exponential moving average in cryptocurrency since 2017. I used it in stocks after I saw, wow, this is a great visual guide for crypto. Let's see how it does on stocks. I've been using it in stocks ever since. An example today, just real quick, not related, but Tesla. Entered Tesla on the 12-period 2-minute time frame, just this exponential support. Great visual guide, bouncing off it the whole way up. I then used it as a visual guide and said, I will be comfortable entering on 15-minute consolidation as long as the exponential 12-period holds. So again, just a note, play around with this with whatever you are trading because I love it. But ETH BTC needs a daily high or low. If we set this daily high or low, holding the daily 12-period exponential support, which has been holding for over a month at this point, that will help propel those ETH bulls into the 450s and potentially beyond. Best case scenario is obviously a daily high or low into continuation for a higher high, but in my opinion, that would require that Bitcoin dominance chart setting a daily lower high, rejecting from breaking this falling wedge resistance line. And ideally, if I'm an ETH bull, I want to see this chart be a daily bear flag and head back down to the support low down at 60 or 59 over the next couple of days. ETH BTC needs to change the 4-hour trend back in favor of the bulls if we're going to be confident saying the daily high or low has been set. So they need to start showing up, and we'll keep an eye on that chart. Link USD getting a lot of attention with Dave Portnoy on Twitter, going into Bitcoin, going into Link. We knew that was only a matter of time before that was going to happen. Unfortunately, a lot of his followers are on places like Robinhood and stock exchanges, but him moving into the crypto world is definitely going to be a little short-term catalyst for others to follow. Link has been a raging bull, and we just hit all-time highs. And we're starting to pull back a little bit, looking for a daily high or low. Anything above 1212 will be a daily high or low. Now the question just remains, are we going to see a daily bull flag again, as we did the last time, or are we going to see a significant enough pullback to then look for a daily lower high to be the most likely scenario as opposed to daily continuation? Currently, daily continuation is the most likely scenario, but if we drop back down towards $16, then a daily lower high becomes the most likely scenario once we find the daily high or low. Whether or not we set the daily high or low is not in jeopardy here at this point. It's just how much consolidation to see whether continuation or tightening ranges is the most likely scenario from there. So we've got to point out how the cryptocurrency space is still extremely healthy because we are seeing names consolidate while names break out, and then the names that have been consolidating see capital flow back into them, and then they break out. And most notably, we were watching VET and XTZ a few weeks ago, highlighting how, hey, this is very healthy weekly consolidation. We want to be looking for potential entries to see if capital flows back into these names, and obviously that has happened to both of these names in a significant way. We'll get to those in just a bit, but Link did the same thing. Look at the Link beautiful weekly consolidation we saw. That was an ideal entry opportunity, the last weekly bull flag we saw, and then huge follow through. So the point is, yes, the high flying runners are great, but there are opportunities where if I don't feel like chasing, if I don't want that high risk, high reward entering late kind of scenario, look to the names that have been running but have been in periods of multiple weeks of consolidation. XRP and LTC were laggards, and they saw their laggard bull move to catch up to Bitcoin and Ethereum and everybody else during this period here, end of July, start of August. And then what did they do? They saw very healthy weekly consolidation, giving bulls a chance for an entry. Again, if I don't want to enter on this runaway train, knowing that the top's going to happen at any point and not wanting to put myself at risk for a 10 or 20% drop, I patiently wait for the weekly consolidation, and then I start to establish a game plan on how to enter during that weekly consolidation. So we're seeing XRP. Actually, let's go back to Link. I'm not done there. So Link, 4-hour time frame. Are we still in an uptrend? We confirmed a 4-hour downtrend with no bear follow through, which means zoom out and look for a potential bull flag, which we still have as a possibility. We are now watching our back burner trades. Back burner trades mean first 5-minute oversold conditions, watch for a bounce. When you're coming off the all-time high, the probability of this trade I have been astounded with. We noticed it years ago as an observation, and over the years observing it time and time again, stocks, crypto, gold, whatever it is. When you're coming from a massive breakout, ideally blue skies, the first 5-minute and the first hourly oversold bounces have such high probabilities. This bounce was from 1850, first 5-minute oversold, and we bounced to 1915, and that is about a 3 to 4% bounce. Again, it's nothing huge, but they're high probability opportunities to make money, which is exactly what we try and do in trading, is put ourselves in those high probability opportunities. So now that we've seen the first 5-minute oversold, we're watching patiently to see if we get the first hourly oversold conditions. And it's going to require a solid drop down towards the low 18s for that to happen, but it's a back burner trade, which means I can write it down on my piece of paper next to my computer and say, okay, next time we head to hourly oversold conditions, I know this is a high probability setup that I can keep an eye on, and that's probably not going to happen within the next 6 hours, but I know today, tonight, into tomorrow, something to be keeping an eye out for. If the trade comes to me, I'll take that bounce play. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. Find the next trade. XRP USD. So the daily time frame, significant bull move, testing the highs of 32.8 and trying to see its weekly continuation move. Weekly bull flag, get over 328. We're looking at 3478. And then a lack of resistance. What comes after 3478? There's a lack of resistance and the ability for bulls to move. So nice weekly high or low. Look at LTC, same thing. Already breaking to a higher high. LTC a bit stronger than XRP, but they're very similar. These two names trade together. I view them as a pair. The laggards that then played catch up, that then saw a weekly bull flag, that are now confirming that weekly bull flag. LTC next resistance is up in the $80 range. View these names as a pairing. I view ADA and VET as a pairing. Why do I view these names as a pairing? Honestly, I have no idea if fundamentally these two coins are similar. I am not into the fundamentals of crypto nearly as much as I'm into the technicals, but what I do know is the daily time frame has been extremely similar, and the weekly as well. So we watched for the weekly high or low to be set. And you know what? I have to backtrack a little bit because it's not ADA and VET. It is VET and XTZ that is the pairing. So hold off on ADA for now. Rewind that. So VET, 3 weeks of weekly consolidation into continuation into 2 weeks of sideways. XTZ, couple weeks of consolidation into continuation, and now a little bit of sideways, just much more significant bull follow through on the weekly time frame. That's the most distinct difference. XTZ had a much more successful continuation move. What stands out? Increasing bull volume, very notable. VET, what stands out? No bull volume. These are little observations that we can make. They had the very similar setup, but XTZ had way more follow through and way more volume. What are they doing now on the daily time frame? Very similar consolidation. We hit our high, we have a daily high or low, and we've been trading sideways for 5 days. XTZ on the daily chart. We hit our high, we hit our low on that same candle, and then now about 5 days of sideways consolidation. There are no red flags on this consolidation. We're still in a daily uptrend. As long as those daily high or lows hold, the bulls keep control. If we lose the daily high or lows, we zoom out, and weekly consolidation will be underway again. It's the same thing for VET. If we lose 18.3 support, we zoom out because weekly consolidation will be underway, and we'll then be looking for a weekly high or low. As long as this crypto environment stays this bullish, we can be looking for entries on weekly consolidation to not be chasing and to have much better risk and reward setups. Binance. So Binance has shifted momentum. We're right back to testing the highs, 23.54, and we're breaking to a higher high now. So good sign there. Weekly time frame, very little pullback. We did break the low of the previous week, last week, but only by 13 cents. And we're looking at 27.19 as resistance from here. Not an easy re-entry here on Binance. The only play here was an inside bar breaking bullish, and the play would be a bullish entry. As soon as the inside bar breaks bullish, you put your stop below the low of consolidation, and obviously that would have worked out. Not as easy as some other entries. You know, this is a potential setup where I would be looking for a bull move that's significant. I then look for an entry on a higher low. I put my stop under the low of consolidation at that point, and then look for the daily trend change to mark continuation. If that's the setup I'm looking for, and I'm waiting for the trade to come to me, and it just goes straight to the higher high, I will say, okay, trade didn't come to me, missed that one, go on and find the next trade. ADA USDT, sideways on the weekly, but it is weekly consolidation. Very healthy. It is a weekly bull flag at this point. The burden of proof is on the bears to show to us that it is not a weekly bull flag. Here's that setup that I just highlighted that Binance didn't give us. Solid bounce on the daily. There's your little bull flag. There's your daily higher low entry. Putting your stop under the 12s where we have bounced twice. The daily trend change has confirmed, and now the bulls have their sights set back on 15.23 and 15.46 resistances. So again, yes, there's a lot of fun and hype and momentum in the runaway names, but timing, planning your bull entries on weekly consolidation has been paying off really well in the crypto space over the last couple of months as well. So while everybody's looking at the shiny, flashy all-time high, be looking at the names that are weekly consolidation and looking for their next leg up. It's just a game of musical chairs for right now, which is what keeps the sector extremely strong. When we see money leaving crypto, it's going to be a very different scenario. We're not seeing that. We're seeing money bounce around between crypto. Just a game of musical chairs. Hope you're well. Let's see if Ethereum can break this double top a bit more convincingly. Make sure you do good things out there. Keep an eye on the Bitcoin daily falling wedge. And we'll see you soon. Some purple jalapenos. And I'm not sure what anything else is. These are sweet. And they're good either green or red. The compost pile is turned into a giant tomato patch, and that's probably going to be the case every year, as a bunch of these tomatoes are going to drop and wait for next year.